Welcome, illegitimate spawn of the Vulcan hierarchy, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Review. That I went a long way for that one.
Yeah.
For the Geek Salad podcast, I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And unfortunately, our original co-host, Mike C., could not join us tonight as part of our August month. Somebody came up, so unfortunately he wasn't able to join us. So Mike, I hope you're able to watch this later on. I hope we do this movie the justice that it so rightly deserves. I hope we hit on upon any of the points that you may have thought yourself, but we are joined tonight by my allergies. So throughout the course, if I am dabbing my nose, it's not because I just did a bump of cocaine. I will do that after this is all over. But for right now,
professionals here.
Yeah, the sniffing and all that is not cocaine. All right, just repeat to yourself, not cocaine. So anyway, we are here tonight to talk about the. I think I could officially say the worst of all the Star Trek movies. Because say what you will about motion picture or motionless picture, if you're clever. There are some things about it. I feel like nostalgia really carries the movie more than the actual movie itself.
It is a very beautiful movie, I'll say that.
It is. And Jerry Goldsmith's score is actually very lush.
Yeah.
And quite good.
For me, the only other Star Trek movie they might hit this low would be Insurrection.
Yeah. Insurrection, I feel, is just forgettable.
Yeah.
And I always forget because there was that other one too. There was Insurrection and
Nemesis.
Nemesis. I was confused which one came before the other one, but I feel like that's more a point of them being boring. And by that point too, I feel like people just gave up on the Next Generation crew. But yeah, Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, released in one of the greatest summers in movie history, 1989, a summer that saw the release of Batman, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Ghostbusters 2, huge hit. So what's that?
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Lethal Weapon 2, otherwise known as the other good one. 89 is a great year for movies. I mean, there's a lot of... I feel like it's still hampered with a lot of crap as well. More so than like 82 or 84 are the other two great movies of the movie summers of the 80s. Because, that whole Yahoo Serious debacle. But anyway, Star Trek 5. I remember the teaser poster. Did you ever see the teaser poster of it?
Probably.
So the teaser poster that was in all the lobbies of all the cinemas was a chair, a movie theater chair with a seatbelt floating in the deep recesses of space. Star Trek V, Shatner ruins the franchise. Kurt, I am so getting to that, my friend.
Oh yeah, we will touch on that. Trust me.
We will touch on that. They were like, ask yourself why they're putting seatbelts in the theater for Star Trek V this summer. Let's be 100% honest about this. While we all jokingly call the motion picture the motionless picture because there's next to no action in it, and yes, it is so boring my dad fell asleep when he took me to see it, there is very little action in this movie after having just gone through the whole Genesis trilogy of Khan, Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home. We're back on track now. We can continue with what we would hope would be amazing Star Trek movies, and we get this wet fish of a movie.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's
oddly enough, for like considering how like for Voyage Home's budget was $26 million. This one they bumped up to $33 million, and yet it looks so much cheaper.
It does.
How did they get better effects out of the Voyage Home with less money?
Right. The funny thing about the Voyage Home also is that it benefited from not needing as many special effects.
Yeah.
Mainly because, they are on Earth 1986. Yeah. This one, they had to rely on the special effects because, they're back in space. and it's just not a great. It's just not great. It was a bad way of like jamming everybody in there. It felt like an overstuffed sausage.
Yeah, I mean, they get this brand new ship, and here we find, like, first thing we find out is that half of the ship is broken or not completed, which is just kind of a cheap way of being cheap, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's a great way of saying we can't use the transporters.
We can't afford to use the transporters.
We can't afford to use the transporters, but hey, we have this shuttlecraft. So if it's just, it's not great. And the special effects, you're mentioning the cheap special effects. There's the cannon, the big gun on the Klingon bird of prey that was giving me serious Ed 209 vibes.
Yeah, and like hell, when like the Klingon, which we'll get to the Klingons, trust me. The Klingons decide to fire on the Enterprise, and the Enterprise goes to warp, and it's just like, boop.
Oh yeah, that warp speed.
It's just
awful.
No.
Yep.
What the hell happened? It's like, seriously, where did the 33 million go that the effects in the transporter effects and all that from what 89 to 90, 84, 5 years prior look so much better?
Seriously.
Actually, give me 1 second. My cat wants to come back in.
Oh yeah, sure thing. I can continue talking. Yeah, it's not. It's just there's so much going on with the movie. Now, first of all, I was trying to explain this to a coworker today. The movie itself is too grand for television, but too small for a movie.
Yeah.
And it's hampered by the fact that it's too ambitious for Shatner's directorial debut. The money went to gluing on the wig on Shatner's head. Oof.
No, my guess is most of the budget went to that third act.
Yeah, it's like the only interesting part of the entire movie, and it's not even that interesting.
No. Honestly, for me, the most interesting part was just seeing Spock, McCoy, and Kirk hanging out in Yellowstone.
Yeah, I mean that was that in Yellowstone? Was that actually Yellowstone? I was in Utah. I don't know if it was Yellowstone or was stand-in for Utah for Yellowstone.
Actually, give me a second. I got it here. Oh, sorry, Yosemite.
Yosemite. Okay.
All right, because he was climbing the was it the captain? El Capitan?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But he slipped and fell though. It was an embarrassing blue screen.
Yeah.
It really was. The whole thing with Spock and his lift boots, and it's just like the gimbling effect.
Yeah.
Just looked terrible. And realistically speaking, the one thing I hate, it's something that we should love about them, is when they're just getting back down to literal Earth and just trying to behave like normal, like real human campers. But it felt forced. It really kind of felt forced, especially I understand that we wanted to get the round of row your boat in there just so Spock could ask, how exactly is life a dream? Thanks, Spock.
That also ties into Shatner's, if this is fake, if this is real, then life is a dream. Then
it really was. It was tough to watch. I mean, Bones is just. I feel like Bones, Scotty, Uhura, Chekhov, and Sulu were of what people always thought they were. I felt like they did a much better job with them being the fish out of water in 4, especially Scotty.
Oh,
Scotty and McCoy were so great as the fish out of water.
I'm sorry, but for me, one of the biggest cardinal sins that this movie did is completely destroying Scotty's reputation as being a miracle worker. He spent like 4 movies and 3 TV series being able to pull off like the most amazing things with technology. And here he tells him, I can have this thing back up in shape in 2 weeks. And 3 weeks later, he still doesn't have to.
I still can't do it.
And then he knocks himself out on his own bulkhead. And what the hell happened to Scotty?
Womp womp.
I was offended by that.
Yeah. Not half as offended as I was for George Takei having to these are my civilian outfits. I always dress as a Japanese samurai. Chekhov is just. I feel bad for Chekhov. Especially I feel bad for Walter Koenig because it's him and Shatner now, isn't it? They're the last two.
Him, Shatner. Actually, I just looked this up at work. And I want to say, the Yeoman Rand.
Yeoman Rand. Did Yeoman Rand make an appearance in this movie?
No, but she did make an appearance in 4.
Okay, but did Yeoman Rand leave a signature at the end of Yeoman Rand's credit at Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country?
No, she did not.
Exactly.
George Takei is still alive.
Yes, George Takei is still alive. Oh, that's right. So it's Chekhov, Sulu, and Kirk are the only 3 that are alive. George Takei is just too busy being awesome. He's like a social media gadfly. I love him. But for Walter Koenig, his Chekhov has always been kind of like he's always been a fifth wheel. It didn't help in this one. It was fun. Like they found something for him to do in Star Trek 4. Let's move up that accent. Let's really frighten some scared white Americans about the nuclear vessels. In this one, it's just
he was Captain Chekhov.
He was acting as Captain Chekhov while Spock and all the important crew members get down to the planet. Uhura doing that fan dance, which is was it in her contract that she had to do this? I know that she had an amazing nightclub career, so maybe it's just I want to do that one more time. Nichelle, you're 60. I want to do it one more time. Oh, okay, don't hurt us.
Go ahead, Nichelle. It's on you.
You be you, hun. You be you. And it really felt like we're dealing with that. We're dealing with some what? Are we supposed to side with Sabak? Are we supposed to feel bad when he sacrifices himself? Because this is the issue with this movie. I read, just reading the trivia. This movie fell apart because they couldn't agree on anything. Shatner didn't get a story credit for this one. So in the writer's room, he's not actually the one who pounded it out. He had the idea for this, had the writers try to figure it out, and it just doesn't work.
Actually, I think they also had to deal, they had to rush the script into production because the writers, there was a writer's strike at the time.
Yes, there was. And they couldn't do anything at a certain point. Rewrites... And that's kind of that's the story of Quantum of Solace.
Yeah.
They were filming Quantum of Solace during the writer's strike, but they could not do a single rewrite, which is why that ended up the way it was. This was kind of the same thing. It was a rush job. Let's get it out before the 88 writers, or the 88 writer's strike. And hey, it's Star Trek. People will flock to this. They flocked to 4. They weren't even in space for most of that movie.
Yeah, 4 made 163?
It made
133 million.
For a Star Trek movie, it made ridiculous amounts of money and was the first and only first up to 2009 only Star Trek to actually get serious Oscar conversation.
Yeah, and then this one they bumped up the budget 7 million, and the box office cut in half.
Yeah,
63 million. It
had a great opening weekend, but we know that doesn't matter for anything. This is just not. I think my biggest issue with this movie is that it's simply just not enjoyable. It's what I dislike about Star Trek.
Yeah, it's like I said. I was texting you yesterday. I was watching it. While 4 felt like one of the more fun episodes of season 2 of the original series, This one felt like all the bad episodes of season 3 put into one.
Right.
I can just imagine the writers are okay, hold on, hear me out. Spock's half brother that we've never heard of before captures the Enterprise and takes it through this impenetrable field in the center of the galaxy that they can make it through pretty easily to find God. But when it turns out that God's actually just this giant evil alien. Wow! How do they beat it? They shoot a fired photon torpedo at it.
Yep. Yeah, the Klingons actually come in and they save that because, at this point, Next Generation was already out.
Yeah.
And, we knew the Klingons are our friends now. And I feel like this is the movie that kind of got that ball rolling. Obviously, with Undiscovered Country,
yeah,
they really pushed that through, with the Klingon bastards.
Yeah.
Killed my son.
Seriously, though, I mean, for one, yeah, this gigantic evil being who can shoot beams out of his eyes and who shoots Kirk and Spock. Neither one of them die. So
nope.
How powerful is this thing where it can't even escape and it can be blown up by pretty conventional space weaponry?
Yeah, not exactly a great space deity. And you notice the funny thing too is that there was really no lasting damage on those uniforms too. Yeah. It's like, just get enough black soot that we can wash off of it, because I guarantee they reuse those suits in 6. Oh, yeah. This was where Paramount was cutting costs left and right for Star Trek. That's why they wear those same outfits from 2 till 6.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but if you're a Klingon, if you're the ruler of the head of a Klingon ship, and you get this fat bastard diplomat saying, "I'm in charge of you," I'm like, "Fuck you, and I'm gonna shiv you as soon as I get."
Fine, I'll listen to you, drunk ass.
Yeah, come on. From what we've seen in Klingon culture, from original series, the movies, and Next Generation, yeah, no, there would be a fight, and that younger guy would win easily, and there's no way he would bow to this guy, this drunk ass Klingon.
It really is insane. And I also thought too that the Klingon captain should have honestly been paid by 80 stalwart henchman Al Young. It wasn't. Would have been better. Since white guy prosthetics.
Apparently, how someone was just in a bar or something, saw this guy playing ping pong. It's like, "Hey, you're pretty buff. Want to be Klingon?" And that's how he got the bar.
Yep. Do I have to act? Not really.
No.
We'll dub in your dialogue.
In fact, if you can't act, that'll be even better.
Yeah. I think that's really what we want to go with here.
That whole Klingon subplot was just completely useless.
It was like, oh, shoot, we didn't really put a decent antagonist in this. Because Cybok, we don't know what to think about him. And there were arguments in the writer's room about, does Kirk side with him? Is Kirk just messing with him? Is there an ulterior motive, which really just never truly gets resolved in any way, shape, or form?
No. Yeah,
there's
the whole story.
So much.
The whole movie is a mess. It's the story is not good. The directing is subpar. I'm sorry.
I feel like coming off of 4, the worst sin that this movie commits is being unremarkable.
Yeah.
In every aspect. You want to talk about Paramount recycling, by the way? They bring back the great Jerry Goldsmith. And they bring back the same theme from Star Trek the Motion Picture and Star Trek the Next Generation.
Yeah.
It's like, the weird thing about Star Trek in terms of film is, other than that theme, which is only been used in the Goldsmith composed movies, they never use that theme again. It wasn't like not Thomas Newman, the other Newman.
Randy Newman.
No, it is Thomas. No, it's not Thomas Newman. Crap. Oh no, James Horner. James Horner did the score for 2.
Yeah.
That they didn't use that score, that theme at all. And I feel like that's something that really, you either use the theme throughout or you don't. Yeah. And that's kind of what I liked about the Giacchino scores for the 09. Do we actually have a name for that series? I think somebody named it, and I don't remember.
The Kelvin series.
Kelvin series, okay.
Yeah, because it's the Kelvin universe.
Right. That Giacchino at least kept some scores in there. Even recycling at the end of 09, recycling that the TV theme for a little bit before going into his own theme, which worked through 3 movies.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing because I love Jerry Goldsmith. Jerry Goldsmith is one of my favorite composers of all time, and it's just like,
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, and I've got a real weakness for the score for Star Trek 4. I really enjoy it.
Who did that one?
I don't remember.
It's been forever since I've watched it, so I don't truly remember.
I got it right here. Music by Leonard Rosenman.
Wow. Okay.
He provided scores to such films as Beneath Planet of the Apes, the first animated Lord of the Rings, the Ralph Bakshi one.
Okay.
And Star Trek 4, the Voyage Home.
Okay. I always thought it sounded like the Night Court theme, but that's just me.
That's just that one part.
I know. It's just fun. Every time I think of that smash cut to a modern, by 86 standards, city, I just hear that popping bass, and it's like, oh, geez, Night Court.
Oh, he also did RoboCop 2.
There we go. Crime classic.
Yeah.
Underrated in so many ways. For a bad movie, it's very underrated.
No, I will actually agree. It's
prime cheese.
It really is. It really is.
It's good cheese.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to Final Frontier, it's just like, give us something we haven't seen before instead of this morality play that Kirk always goes through and Spock always goes through.
And I get it. Shatner is the director of this one. He co-wrote the story. Yeah, he got this. He was able to direct this one because he and Nimoy had like a what was it? What was the name of his the contract? A favored nations clause.
Oh,
that whenever one got a raise, the other one had to get a raise. And since Nimoy got to direct 3 and 4, Shatner was like, I get to direct the next one. They're like, fine.
I get to direct 5 and 6. And then after 5 came out, like, hey, you know what we're going to do? Remember Nick Meyer? Remember him? The genius who wasn't a fan and gave us the greatest Star Trek movie ever? We're bringing him back.
Yeah.
We need to.
Yeah, but it was just kind of aggravating the fact that like everyone was like falling under Sybok's sway, but no, Kirk is going to stand strong. He's the only one with enough willpower to resist him.
Yep.
Are you fucking serious?
For one, and that's something that drives me nuts about him is I feel like Kirk, especially in this movie, I feel like he got like that Dwayne Johnson contract writer where he's not allowed to be beaten. He's not allowed to show any weakness. I mean, Shatner, let's be 1,000% honest here. He's a bad actor's actor. For his limited acting ability, I feel like he hit a renaissance in the early 2000s.
And you know what? I've actually gone back and rewatched some of the original series recently. He has some moments of some actually decent acting in those.
Yeah, but I feel like the acting they did especially in 2, like 4, he's kind of slinking back to, being James Tiberius Kirk, ladies' man. Whereas in 2 and 3, he's getting older, dealing with the fact that he's got this son who resents him for never being there for him, and then losing that son.
Right.
And that acting was great. And in this one, it's just like, too strong for the Sybok mind vibes. You go, Bones. Let's hear some backstory.
Look at this profile. That's a profile of a winner.
Don't shoot me from the back. You'll see the strings from my truss. So,
and actually, that's kind of. I'm glad they brought back Nicholas Meyer for 6 because he seems to be able to get that actually quality acting out of Shatner, because he
Right.
has really good moments in 6.
But he also writes a compelling story too, and
Yeah.
that's at some point, I feel like we do need to go back and revisit the Star Trek movies. That might be our next series of movies. We've done Pixar, we've done Bond. I feel like at some point we're gonna have to do this for the
Which
stuff
means
we
we're
haven't
going to have
touched
to
on.
hit number 1.
We do have to hit number 1, which have to happen at some point.
And we've already done number 2. So we got to go 1, 3,
1, 3,
4,
4,
6, and then
6,
Next Generation.
Next Generation. One of my favorite movies of all time, 09. Into Darkness
and Beyond.
And yeah.
Have we done Beyond?
What?
Have we done Beyond?
We have not done Beyond.
Oh.
We haven't touched, honestly, this past month, Mike, it's the only time we've ever touched a Star Trek movie on YouTube. We've had a couple of conversations on the podcast about it.
That might be where, because I remember I had to watch Beyond for Geek Salad somehow, and I think I might have been an episode that we did on.
Well, we did that ranking of our Captain's Log. I lost my fan girdle and I can't in my room. We did that episode where we ranked all of the Star Trek movies, and just for shits and giggles included the Galaxy Quest in there, and it scored higher than most of the other Star Trek movies.
I believe I watched Beyond for that one.
Yeah. So, kids, if you haven't listened to that episode, it's on the podcast. It's on your pod app somewhere. Go listen to it. Genuinely curious which episode that is. Now I got to look for it, but it's definitely. It's just this movie made me angry because if there was ever a reason for me at this point in my life when that movie came out, I wasn't a huge Star Trek fan. 4 had really won me over. It really had won me over. Shatner's appearance on SNL really won me over. And then it's like, I'm glad I hadn't seen this movie in theaters. I really am glad.
You know what? Just thinking about it some more, there is one thing I liked about this one, and that was the Nimoy as Spock. I mean, I don't think in any of the movies I've ever been disappointed in Nimoy's performance. He always seems to nail it, even when he doesn't have a whole lot really good stuff to do. He was really good in this one. He also provided a lot of laughs, like we can't get out of this cell. It's been the people that constructed it found the most resourceful and intelligent person they could find.
Still looking for this episode, so if anybody's listening who hasn't listened to it before, I can't type because my fingers are fat.
But yeah, for me, the shining light of Star Trek has always been Nimoy. He is really solid.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I gotta go back and listen to this now. Damn it.
Damn it.
Jim. This is gonna drive me nuts. All right, you know what? Not even worth it. Go back, listen to it. It's like about 4 or 5 years old when we ranked them. So,
really, wow.
Checking 2018, 2019. That's about when we did the episode. But I mean, just straight up, trying to figure out what this is. This thing is. It's not an entertaining movie. It wouldn't have made a great 2-part TV episode either.
Not in seasons 1 or 2, no.
No.
Season 3, it'd probably be. I was like, well, you thought we couldn't hit lows before. Guess what we got? We got God.
Exactly. Hope you didn't put a lot of money down on that bet, my friend.
Season 3.
Yeah, it's not great. So I have nothing else to say about Star Trek V, the final frontier.
David Warner was criminally underused.
Criminally underused. He shows up. Did he say? I think he was like on his feet for 2 seconds that entire movie.
Yeah.
With about maybe 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, he was so criminally underused that they had to bring him back for number 6 for a much more quality role.
Yeah.
I forgot just about as much screen time.
Just so, like, seriously, it's been forever since I've seen really any of them. The only time I've been watching is for this, so I got to go back and watch some of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Star Trek V. Yeah, it is. It's a thing that happened in 1989 while everyone's going to see Batman. You're doing the Batusi with the Vulcan.
That's the Spock Tusi.
Fascinating, Captain. I can do it.
I can only do it with this eyebrow.
Yeah, I can't do them both. I can only do the one, but I got a really good eyebrow raise.
Yeah, I can't do this one. I can only do
it's what we call in my family eye acting. I do a lot of it. So anyway, that was Star Trek V. We want to know, what are your thoughts on this film? Leave a polite comment below. Also, if you're new to the channel, hi, thanks for finding us. I'm sorry if you really love this movie, because neither of us did.
Yeah, oddly enough, one of my coworkers does like it, but
okay.
He's also huge into NASCAR and thinks the later Transformers movies are the pinnacle of excellence.
Well, which by the later Transformers movies, are we talking about the actual good ones like Bumblebee? And...
No, I'm talking like 4 and 5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
He's a nice guy, but
yeah,
he's got some really weird views.
Yeah, I have to. I will say this about Star Trek V. Thank God that film Twitter hasn't tried to
Well, it really wasn't
history.
that bad.
No, this actually isn't a bad movie. If you go back and you look, I think you're just being overly harsh with it.
Yeah, it's got some good quality moments.
Yeah, exactly. It's revisionist history. But yeah, if you like it, let us know, but be polite. If you didn't like it, let us know, be polite. Thank you for joining us. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up as well. It helps us in the algorithm, which is always good. Let your friends know, too. If they're huge Star Trek Trekkies and they dislike this movie as much as Mike and I did, let them know, too. Share the video, because at some point, I would love to get one of those cool YouTube plaques. But we can only get that if you're subscribing and you let your friends subscribe. So if that's what you're into, let us know. Also, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Stitcher, iTunes. God, it said Stitcher. Stitcher doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Really gotta take me a while to get out of that. Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts. We are there. We also put our full audio for the podcast right here on YouTube, so you can check that out too. You can also follow us on the socials. We are at Geek Salad Podcast on Facebook. We are at Geek Salad Radio on Blue Sky, Threads, and 10.
Oh yeah, the X app.
Yes, the app formerly known as Twitter. It is 10.
It's the X app.
It's the X app. Yeah, exactly. So once you get through a whole lot of buffoonery, maybe you'll find us in there somewhere. So anyway, that's it for us. And until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth, be nerdful, and hey, Mike C, if you're watching, we missed you, buddy. Live long and prosper. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye. Live long and prosper.